The great Sphinx watches, always watching. Stone eyes that see beyond time, beyond memory, beyond the stories we tell ourselves. This creature of rock has waited, patient as mountains, silent as stars. We are told a simple tale. Pharaoh Khafre carved this guardian, 4th dynasty masterpiece, built 4,500 years ago, made to guard the pyramids. The story fits our minds, neat, clean, comfortable. But what if the story lies? If you're drawn to these forbidden questions, subscribe to Epoch History for sleep, to journey deeper into mysteries they don't want you to know. What if the Sphinx remembers older days, days before pharaohs ruled, before Egypt existed, when green Sahara drank from monsoon rains, when forgotten people walked this earth? Give this video a like if you believe some truths are hidden in plain sight. Close your eyes, let darkness embrace you. Listen to the whispers carried on desert wind. Long ago, the Sahara was green. Lush grasslands stretched endless. Lakes reflected clouded skies. Monsoon rains fell heavy. Rivers carved deep channels through the earth. Rock art told stories of abundance. Antelopes roamed free. Rivers that have vanished completely. This was Africa's humid period, 7,000 to 4,000 years before our time. North Africa lived as a different world, a world we struggle to imagine. In this time, some say, the Sphinx was born, not by Egyptian hands, but by people whose names time has stolen, people who knew this green world was dying. Robert Schoch stood before the Sphinx in the early 1990s. He was not an Egyptologist. He was a reader of stone, a scientist who understood Earth's ancient scars. What he saw changed everything. The walls of the Sphinx enclosure told a different story, not the sharp horizontal marks of wind and sand, not the scourging that carved the nearby pyramids. Instead, deep vertical channels, wavy patterns, smoothed corners, the unmistakable signature of water, heavy rainfall, sustained for centuries, the kind that flows down rock faces, the kind that carves and shapes stone, the kind that ended thousands of years before the first pharaoh held power. To Schoch, the evidence spoke clearly. The Sphinx had endured rains that stopped falling long before Egypt was born, before hieroglyphs told their stories, before the Old Kingdom rose. This discovery shattered foundations. If the Sphinx shows water erosion from Egypt's Green Age, it predates the civilization we credit with its creation. The last time Giza saw such rainfall was over 7,000 years ago, long before pharaohs ruled, long before the unification under Menes, long before the pyramids rose. If Schoch speaks truth, the Sphinx could be 10,000 years old or more, a silent witness to chapters of human history we have never written. But this raises questions that echo through the ages. Who carved this guardian of stone? Why did their story vanish? Why was their truth buried beneath sand and time? The traditional story insists Khafre built the Sphinx. His name links to the monument through fragments found nearby, through assumptions that its face mirrors his own. Yet no inscription claims it. No royal cartouche declares ownership. No definitive text connects Khafre to the Sphinx. The evidence feels thin, built on proximity rather than proof. And when you look closer, cracks appear in the story. The temples beside the Sphinx tell their own tale. Built from limestone blocks, quarried from the Sphinx's enclosure, their surfaces show no water erosion, sharp edges, angular cuts, untouched by the rains that sculpted the Sphinx's walls. This suggests the temples came later, built using stone cut from the Sphinx's own body, as if the monument was already ancient when pharaohs arrived to claim it. Think about this. The Sphinx required massive engineering, over 1,000 tons of limestone removed, shaped with precision that rivals modern construction. The builders worked with natural stone layers, following grain with expertise that demands sophisticated planning. Yet unlike every other monument in Egypt, the Sphinx bears no name, no dedication, no claim of ownership. Pharaohs were not humble. Their temples, statues, tombs were declarations of divine power. statements carved in stone to ensure immortality. To find a monument of this scale without a single hieroglyph praising its creator feels impossible. It's not just puzzling, it's unthinkable. Consider the implications. If the Sphinx predates pharaohs, it challenges everything we know about civilization's development. The accepted timeline places monumental architecture at the dawn of the Old Kingdom, around 3100 BCE. But a Sphinx carved 7,000 years ago belongs to prehistoric times, when humans supposedly lived in simple settlements, not reshaping landscapes with advanced engineering. This isn't just about dating one monument, it's about rewriting human history, about acknowledging capabilities we've only begun to rediscover. Could there have been a civilization lost to history, one that understood geology, astronomy, engineering, in ways that defy our assumptions about the past? The idea feels less far-fetched when we look beyond Egypt. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, stone pillars erected 12,000 years ago, before writing, before agriculture as we know it. Builders moved 20-ton stones, carved intricate reliefs, aligned structures with celestial events. Or consider Yonaguni, off Japan, submerged ruins with precise angles and terraces, dated to when sea levels were lower, perhaps 10,000 years ago. These sites don't fit the neat progression we've been taught. They suggest advanced knowledge existed long before we thought possible, only to be lost in catastrophe, flood, climate shift, collapse that buried achievements beneath sand and sea. The legend of Atlantis comes to mind, told by Plato over 2,000 years ago, a sophisticated civilization that flourished 9,000 years before his time, society of architects and navigators that vanished in calamity. Could the Sphinx be a remnant of such culture, a guardian left behind to mark a sacred place? The African humid period ended abruptly around 4000 BCE. As the Sahara transformed from green paradise to desert wasteland, populations migrated to the Nile, where Egypt would later rise. What if the Sphinx was carved before that shift, monument to a world already fading, builders knowing their time was running out? This brings darker questions. Why don't we know their names? Why is the Sphinx silent? Origins shrouded in deliberate forgetting. Ancient Egyptians were obsessive record keepers. They mapped their kings, gods, victories in hieroglyphs that survived millennia. Yet the Sphinx, most enigmatic monument in their land, has no story, no creator, purpose inscribed upon it. This silence feels intentional, as if someone wanted its truth hidden. The erosion patterns tell one story. The absence of words tells another. It's as if builders chose anonymity over immortality, crafting monument that would endure through mystery, not fame. Here's where whispers grow louder. Some say the Sphinx guards secrets far greater than its age. Psychic Edgar Casey spoke of Hall of Records, buried beneath, chamber containing knowledge of lost civilization, texts, tools, perhaps technology that could rewrite our understanding. Ground-penetrating radar in the 1980s and 2000s detected anomalies beneath the monument. Voids and cavities suggesting artificial structures. Yet when researchers sought to explore further, they met locked gates and official denials. Egyptian authorities consistently dismissed findings as natural fissures, insignificant. But why the secrecy? Why refuse to investigate what lies beneath the Sphinx's paws? This is where sand begins to shift. The story isn't just about stone and rain. It's about what we're allowed to know, what has been buried not by time, but by design. The water erosion, lack of inscriptions, anomalies beneath the plateau. They all point to truth that threatens history's foundation. The Sphinx doesn't just stand as monument. It stands as question, one that has waited thousands of years to be asked. Who built it? Why did they hide its purpose? What are we not supposed to find? As we drift deeper into night, let the Sphinx's image linger, creature of stone, half lion, half god, gazing at horizon where sun rises each morning. It has watched empires rise and fall, seen reigns turn to dust, kept its silence through it all. But silence is not emptiness. It's presence, a weight, a challenge to those who dare to listen. The Sphinx is not just monument. It's warning that history is not what we think, that the past holds secrets we've been taught to ignore, that truth may be far older, far stranger than we're ready to accept. We turn our gaze to the Great Pyramid itself, towering heart of the Giza Plateau, monument that speaks not in hieroglyphs, but in numbers. Numbers so precise, so universal, they challenge everything we believe about the past. What if the Great Pyramid isn't tomb, not temple, but machine? Machine not of gears or circuits, but of geometry and time, built to preserve knowledge through collapse of civilizations. The Great Pyramid stands over 140 meters tall. Its 2.3 million limestone blocks testify to vision we can barely comprehend. Each block weighing between 2 and 15 tons, cut, moved, placed with precision that defies tools we attribute to ancient Egypt. Copper chisels, wooden sleds, human sweat, the base levels to within 2.1 centimeters across its massive 230-meter span, aligned to true north with accuracy of 0.05 degrees. Modern engineers, armed with lasers and GPS, struggle to match such feats. Yet we're told this was work of 4th dynasty pharaoh Khufu, around 2580 BCE, king whose name appears only once in entire structure, scrawled in red paint on hidden beam. But the pyramid's true language isn't in its silence or single cartouche. It's in its measurements, its ratios, its alignments, code written in stone that speaks of knowledge far beyond what we believe Egyptians possessed. Let's begin with numbers. The Great Pyramid's resilience, surviving 4,500 years of earthquakes and invasions, suggests design for geological time. Its mathematical codes are universal, meant for any civilization advanced enough to measure them. Could it be beacon, signaling to future visitors, or to humanity when we're ready? Sphinx, gazing at equinox sunrise, might mark cosmic rendezvous point, its water-worn stone testament to its age. Underground chambers, sealed and silent, could house technology or records, waiting for time when we're prepared to understand. Pattern of suppression suggests some, perhaps even modern powers, know more than they admit. Whether extraterrestrial origin is true or not, questions remain. Technology of Giza transcends what we believe possible for ancient world. Its builders, human or otherwise, left legacy that challenges our assumptions, forces us to look beyond Earth for answers we can't find here. As you drift towards sleep, imagine beings from distant stars, standing where pyramids now rest, planning monuments that would survive eons, speaking in mathematics that needs no translation. Their ships may have departed, but their message remains, carved in stone, aligned with stars, waiting for us to evolve enough to understand. Perhaps we are not alone. Perhaps we never were. Internal chambers of Great Pyramid tell different story. King's Chamber, Grand Gallery, subterranean passages, constructed with granite and limestone, fitted so precisely no blade can slip between. Air shafts point to stars like Orion's belt. Ratios encode pi and phi. Measurements mirror Earth's polar radius and equatorial circumference. We're told this was Khufu's tomb built around 2580 BCE, but absence of hieroglyphs, grave goods, or mummy challenges that story. Pyramid silence, cosmic alignments, enduring strength suggest purpose far grander than Pharaoh's afterlife. What if pyramid was never meant to honor dead, but to safeguard knowledge for living, for future that might forget everything else? This idea transforms pyramid from monument into machine, not of gears or wires, but of geometry and endurance. Design is too precise, too universal to serve only one king or one era. Constants it encodes are timeless, independent of language, culture, belief. Unlike papyrus scrolls or clay tablets which crumble or become unreadable, Stone endures, unlike hieroglyphs which require Rosetta Stone to decipher. Mathematics speaks to any civilization with tools to measure. Pyramid silence, lack of inscriptions, is not omission but strategy, way to ensure its message survives collapse of empires, loss of languages, forgetting of gods. It stands as repository, vault of knowledge meant to outlast catastrophe and guide future world back to truths it might have lost. Pyramids' mathematical codes are key to this purpose. Divide perimeter by height, and you get number within 0.1% of 2 pi. Slope embeds golden ratio phi. Multiply height by 43,200, and you approximate Earth's polar radius. Multiply perimeter by same factor, and you match equatorial circumference. This 43,200 is no accident. It's tied to precession of equinoxes, 920-year cycle, in Earth's axial wobble phenomenon, requiring centuries of observation to detect. These ratios are not work of trial and error, but of deliberate calculation, language of numbers that transcends time. Whoever built pyramid knew that pi and phi would remain true, that Earth's shape would endure, that stars would shift but return. They built structure to preserve these truths, not for Egypt, but for anyone who might come after. This concept of knowledge repository finds echoes in other ancient sites. Stonehenge aligns with solstices, encoding astronomical cycles in stones. Megaliths of Baalbek suggest purpose beyond mere architecture, their precision hinting at lost science. Yonaguni's submerged structures feature terraces that defy natural erosion, as if built to withstand rising seas. Göbekli Tepe, dated to 9600 BCE, predates agriculture and writing, yet speaks of sophistication we can't explain. These sites, like Giza, feel like anchors in time, built to survive disasters that erase their creators. Great Pyramid, with its cosmic alignments and mathematical precision, could be greatest of these. Time capsule designed for world recovering from collapse. What kind of collapse? African humid period, ending around 4000 BCE, transformed Sahara from green paradise to desert, displacing populations to Nile, where Egypt would rise. Geological records show floods, climate shifts, upheavals that could have destroyed entire civilizations. Plato's legend of Atlantis, society swallowed by sea, 9,000 years before his time, might reflect such catastrophe. If pyramids builders foresaw this, they might have constructed Giza as safeguard, way to preserve their knowledge through chaos. Pyramids' resilience proves it was built for geological time, not human reigns. Its silence ensures message is universal, meant for any civilization in any era that can measure its truths. Pyramids' acoustics deepen this purpose. King's Chamber resonates at frequencies that induce calm or altered states. Osiris Shaft below amplifies whispers in uncanny ways. These properties suggest technology of sound, perhaps used to connect with cosmic forces or preserve knowledge through vibration. Could Pyramid be machine for memory? Its chambers tuned to frequencies that encode information in ways we don't yet understand? Nikola Tesla believed ancient structures could harness Earth's natural forces. Pyramid's granite, rich in quartz, might act as piezoelectric conductor, generating charges under vibration. This speculative idea aligns with Pyramid's design, its precision, its alignments, its silence, suggesting purpose beyond ritual. Technology meant to endure. This brings haunting question. Why hide this knowledge? Pattern of concealment we've uncovered suggests deliberate effort to keep Giza's secrets buried. Egyptian authorities restrict access to sensitive sites, dismissing radar anomalies and robot discoveries as nothing. If Pyramid is repository for future generations, why suppress its exploration? Perhaps truth it holds about lost civilization, advanced technology, or even extraterrestrial origins is too disruptive. It would challenge narrative of Egypt as cradle of Giza's wonders, suggesting pharaohs were caretakers, not creators. It would force us to admit human history is not steady climb, but cycle of rise and fall, with knowledge gained and lost across millennia. Conspiracy of silence extends beyond Egypt. In Mesoamerica, Maya codices were burned by conquistadors, erasing knowledge that might have rivaled European science. In Mesopotamia, texts hinting at pre-flood civilizations were dismissed as myths until sites like Göbekli Tepe proved otherwise. Great Pyramid, with its universal codes, might be safeguard against such losses. Monument built to outlast forgetting. Its builders chose stone over words, geometry over language, knowing that civilizations fade, but numbers endure. Pyramid is reset point, beacon for future that might need to rediscover path, phi, or Earth's place in cosmos. Lesson carved for world reborn from ruin. We arrive at conclusion. Moment to weave threads into tapestry that reveals true shape of Giza's enigma. It's not shape of kings or gods, not monument to glory or death. It's shape that memory forgot, form carved in stone to defy forgetting itself. Repository designed not for past, but for future. Great Pyramid, Sphinx, entire plateau stand as silent archive, vault of knowledge, built to endure collapse of worlds, waiting for time when humanity might need to remember what it has lost. From beginning, clues have pointed to truth that transcends Egypt's pharaohs. Sphinx, with erosion patterns carved by rain 7,000 years ago, predates arid desert we know, suggesting builder from greener, forgotten era. Great Pyramid encodes P and Phi in dimensions, mirrors Earth's curvature and precession of equinox. Knowledge that should have required telescopes and calculus, tools absent from ancient Egypt's arsenal. Empty King's Chamber resonates with frequencies that alter perception, feels less like tomb and more like chamber, tuned to cosmic harmonies. Inventory Stela and Dream Stela speak of restoration, not creation, as if Khufu and Thutmose IV stumbled upon sacred sites they could honor, but not claim. Underground network hints at infrastructure for purpose we can't name, while sealed doors discovered by robots remain unopened, copper pins glinting like warnings from another time. These elements form narrative not of Egyptian triumph, but of inheritance, legacy from lost civilization that knew its end was near. Whether Atlantis, as Plato described, or another advanced society erased by Sahara's transformation, builders of Giza seem to have foreseen oblivion. They didn't inscribe names or stories in hieroglyphs, knowing languages fade and cultures crumble. Instead, they encoded wisdom in universal tongue of mathematics and geometry, carving constants like pi and phi into stone that would outlast empires. Pyramid silence is its strength, message meant for any future, any people who might measure its slopes and rediscover Earth's shape. Stars' cycles, ratios that bind cosmos. Imagine world on brink of collapse, rains failing, seas rising, societies fracturing under weight of change. Builders, masters of astronomy and engineering, construct monument to survive storm, not to glorify themselves, but to anchor knowledge for those who come after. They align it to stars, knowing Orion's belt would return in its cycle, celestial clock ticking through millennia. They tune its chambers to resonate, or perhaps to preserve information and vibrations, or guide future seekers through altered states of awareness. Sphinx gazes at equinox sunrise, marking renewal of time. Its water scars record of deluge that nearly claimed their world. This is no tomb for king, but library for humanity, repository where shape of memory endures, even when memory itself is forgotten. Conspiracy of concealment makes sense in this light. Egyptian authorities, academics, global institutions guard Giza not just for tourism or preservation, but because its truth threatens our fragile sense of progress. If Pyramid is time capsule from lost civilization, it admits that advanced knowledge has risen and fallen before, that our own world might not be pinnacle, but fleeting chapter. Burned Coptic scroll describing beacons of stone before language was silenced to prevent this revelation. Sealed doors, dismissed radar scans, halted explorations. They all protect narrative that keeps us blind to our cyclical past. Even bold hypothesis of extraterrestrial involvement fits here. If beings from stars built or guided Giza, pyramid becomes cosmic repository, message from beyond, waiting for us to evolve enough to understand it. But pyramid's true power lies in its patience. It doesn't demand belief or worship. It simply stands, its stones weathering time, its codes waiting to be measured anew. For future civilization emerging from ruins, perhaps after our own collapse, sight offers blueprint. Ratio of P to rebuild circles. P for harmony and design, Earth's dimensions to map planet, alignments to Orion, remind them of stars' eternal dance. Resonant chambers, teach them to listen to universe's hum. This is shape that memory forgot, forms so enduring it outlives. Forgetting, monument built not to remember past, but to ensure future remembers how to begin again. As we conclude this journey, let weight of Giza's enigma settle upon you like desert night. Great Pyramid and Sphinx are more than stones. They're question, challenge, gift. They ask us to look beyond stories we've been told, to question silence, to measure truths hidden in plain sight. Whether built by lost human civilization, guided by extraterrestrials, or born of Atlantis's final breath, Giza stands as repository for what matters most. Knowledge that binds us to cosmos, constants that remain when all else fades. In this shape, memory endures, forgotten yet unforgotten, waiting with patience of stone for day we're ready to remember. The Great Pyramid stands not as tomb for king, but as time machine for knowledge, structure that holds truths too vast to be spoken, too enduring to be forgotten. Its ratios are language that needs no translation, its alignments map that needs no key. As you drift towards sleep, imagine standing in King's Chamber, surrounded by granite that hums with secrets. Silence is dense, air heavy, stones waiting. They don't tell you who built them. They don't tell you why. They only ask that you measure, that you question, that you listen to numbers that have been true since stars began to burn. In that silence, you might hear echo of world we've forgotten, world that built machine to ensure we'd remember it again. Giza's monuments are more than ancient stones. They are whispers from eternity, voices calling across vast expanse of time, telling us that knowledge is eternal, that truth endures, that somewhere in measurements and alignments and resonant chambers lies key to understanding who we are, where we came from, where we might go. The mystery of Giza is not just about past, it's about future, about remembering what we've lost, about preparing for what's to come. In silence of desert night, under stars that witnessed pyramids' construction, truth waits, patient as stone, eternal as mathematics, ready to reveal itself to those brave enough to listen, wise enough to measure, open enough to accept that our history might be far stranger, far more wondrous than we ever dared imagine. The shape that memory forgot lives on, in every stone precisely placed, in every angle perfectly aligned, in every frequency perfectly tuned, waiting for us to remember, waiting for us to return, waiting for us to become worthy of truth. It guards. Sleep now. Dream of green Sahara, of advanced civilizations, of knowledge preserved in stone, of time when humanity was ready to build monuments to eternity. And perhaps in dreams, you'll hear what Giza has been trying to tell us all along, that we are not alone, that we are not the first, that knowledge endures, that memory, once lost, can be found again, in stone that sings, in chambers that resonate, in mysteries that refuse to be forgotten. The pyramid stands, the Sphinx watches, the truth waits, and somewhere in darkness of King's Chamber, echo of eternity whispers its secrets to those who know how to listen. Base measures approximately 230.4 meters on each side, forming near perfect square. Original height, before capstone was lost, was 146.6 meters. Divide the perimeter by the height, and you get 6.2857. Number so close to 2 pi, that difference is less than 0.1%. This isn't rough approximation, kind you might stumble upon by trial and error. This is deliberate, precise, mathematical constant encoded in pyramids' very shape. Pi wasn't formally defined until centuries later. Yet here it is, etched in limestone on scale that dwarfs human ambition, but the code goes deeper. Pyramid's slope, about 51.84 degrees, embeds another universal constant, golden ratio, phi, approximately 1.618. When you compare half base length to height, proportions align with phi, number revered across cultures, for aesthetic and mathematical harmony. These aren't coincidences. Probability of single structure encoding both pi and phi by accident is vanishingly small. But Great Pyramid doesn't stop there. Its dimensions seem to know Earth itself. Multiply height by 43,200, and you get 6,356,400 meters. Precisely close match to Earth's polar radius, within 99.7% accuracy. Multiply base perimeter by same factor, and you get 39,931,200 meters. Figure that approximates Earth's equatorial circumference with similar precision. Why 43,200? It's not arbitrary. It's tied to precession of equinoxes, slow wobble of Earth's axis that completes cycle every 25,920 years. Divide that cycle by 600, and you get 43,200, scaling factor that bridges pyramids' measurements to planets' dimensions. This suggests knowledge of astronomy and geometry that should have been impossible for civilization without telescopes, without calculus, without concept of spherical Earth. Pyramid's internal structure deepens mystery. So-called King's Chamber, granite box at monument's heart, built with blocks, hauled from quarries, hundreds of miles away, fitted with precision modern masons envy. Chamber's acoustic properties are extraordinary. Sounds resonate in ways that suggest intentional design, as if space was meant to amplify specific frequencies. Air shafts, narrow channels, extending from chamber to pyramid's exterior, aligned with celestial precision. Southern shaft points to Orion's belt, northern to Pole Star, not as they appear today, but as positioned around 2450 BCE. This isn't simple stargazing. Achieving such alignments requires instruments capable of measuring fractions of degrees, understanding of stellar motion, ability to calculate three-dimensional relationships between Earth and heavens. No evidence of such tools or knowledge exists in Egyptian record, yet pyramid stands as proof that someone, somewhere possessed it. Who could have known these things? Egyptians of 4th dynasty were masters of practical mathematics, geometry for land surveys, arithmetic for commerce, but nothing in surviving texts suggests they grasped pi, phi, or planetary dimensions. Their astronomy was sophisticated, tied to Nile's floods and religious rituals, but not to level of calculating precession or stellar alignments across millennia. Great Pyramid feels like singularity, spike in knowledge that appeared fully formed and was never replicated. Later pyramids lack same mathematical precision, slopes less refined, alignments approximate, construction often compromised. Bent pyramid of Sneferu had to be adjusted mid-construction to avoid collapse. If Great Pyramid was culmination of centuries of expertise, why did that expertise vanish so quickly? This leads to bolder hypothesis. What if Great Pyramid wasn't built by Egyptians, but inherited by them? What if it was relic of lost civilization, one that encoded understanding of universe in stone, to survive catastrophe they knew was coming? Idea of time machine isn't science fiction here. Metaphor for structure designed to preserve knowledge through collapse of empires, loss of languages, forgetting of entire worlds. Mathematical constants, like pi and phi, are universal, unchanging regardless of culture or time, unlike hieroglyphs, which require Rosetta Stone to decipher, or papyrus, which crumbles to dust. Geometry endures. By embedding these ratios in pyramids' dimensions, builders created message that could be understood by any civilization advanced enough to measure it. This concept of knowledge preservation isn't unique to Giza. Across ancient world, we find echoes of similar intent. Stonehenge aligns with solstices, encoding astronomical cycles in stones. Massive trilithons of Baalbek suggest engineering capabilities that defy explanation. Submerged structures of Yonaguni hint at culture that vanished beneath rising seas. These sites, like Great Pyramid, seem designed to outlast their creators, to speak across millennia, not through words, but through scale and precision. Great Pyramid, with its mathematical codes, could be time capsule, repository of truths meant for future that had forgotten how to calculate them. But why hide such knowledge in plain sight? Why build monuments so massive, so enduring, yet leave no name, no inscription, no claim to glory? Egyptian pharaohs were not shy about achievements. Tombs, temples, statues covered with cartouches, hymns, scenes of divine favor. Great Pyramid, by contrast, is silent, only marking faint cartouche of Khufu's name, found in inaccessible chamber. Feels like afterthought, whisper rather than shout. Some question its authenticity. Explorer Howard Weiss discovered it in 1837. He was under pressure to link pyramid to pharaoh. But even if genuine, single name doesn't explain absence of everything else. No prayers, no maps of afterlife, no rituals carved into stone. This silence suggests purpose beyond Egyptian religion, beyond needs of single king. Here is where shadows deepen. Some researchers propose Great Pyramid was never tomb at all. No mummy, no grave goods, no sarcophagus lid, just empty granite box in king's chamber. Too plain to be pharaoh's coffin. Chamber's design, with precise proportions and acoustic resonance, hints at function we don't understand. Could it be chamber for preserving frequencies? For aligning with cosmic forces? For anchoring something intangible, yet essential? Air shafts, too narrow for human passage, point to stars with precision that suggests more than symbolic intent. Perhaps pyramid was tool, device built to interact with universe in ways we're only beginning to explore, through resonance, through alignment, through mathematics that govern reality itself. And then there's whisper of something stranger. In 1960s, Swiss author Erich von Däniken suggested ancient monuments like Great Pyramid could be work of extraterrestrial visitors, beings who shared advanced knowledge with early humans. Idea sounds outlandish, but consider anomalies, structure aligned to true north with near-perfect accuracy, dimensions that encode Earth's measurements, level of engineering that strains limits of copper tools and human labor. Could pyramid be beacon? Marker left by civilization not of this world, or one that worked with knowledge we've lost? Absence of inscriptions might support this. Why write in language when your message is meant for those who speak universal tongue of mathematics? This brings chilling possibility. What if Great Pyramid was built to survive catastrophe, not just flood or drought, but collapse of civilization itself? Precession cycle, encoded in scaling factor, suggests timescale that stretches beyond human memory. Pyramid's resilience implies design meant for geological epochs, not just dynasties. Its silence, lack of cultural markers, makes it universal. Message not for Egyptians, not for their gods, but for whoever comes next. Civilization recovering from ruin would find in pyramid's ratios a curriculum of sorts. Lesson in PT, Phi, and Earth's place in cosmos. As we linger in this thought, pyramid becomes more than stone. It becomes question, challenge, warning. It asks us not what we know, but what we're willing to admit we don't. Mathematical codes are there, undeniable, carved in measurements that have outlasted empires. They speak of people who knew Earth's shape, sky's rhythm, constants that bind universe. Were they Egyptians, borrowing knowledge from forgotten source? Were they lost civilization erased by time or design? Or were they something else entirely, leaving legacy we're not yet ready to claim? Great Pyramid stands not as tomb for king, but as time machine for knowledge, structure that holds truths too vast to be spoken, too enduring to be forgotten. Its ratios are language that needs no translation, its alignments map that needs no key. As you drift towards sleep, imagine standing in King's Chamber, surrounded by granite that hums with secrets. Silence is dense, air heavy, stones waiting. They don't tell you who built them. They don't tell you why. They only ask that you measure, that you question, that you listen to numbers that have been true since stars began to burn. In that silence, you might hear echo of world we've forgotten. World that built machine to ensure we'd remember it again. We step inside, heart of Great Pyramid itself, into chambers of granite and limestone that hold nobody, no treasure, no story, only silence. We've been told it's tomb of Khufu, monument to king's eternal glory. But what if it's not tomb at all? What if this towering enigma was never meant to cradle Pharaoh's remains, but to serve purpose we can't yet fathom? Inside, structure is labyrinth of passages and chambers, each more enigmatic than last. Descending passage burrows into bedrock, leading to unfinished subterranean chamber. Ascending passage climbs to grand gallery, soaring corridor of polished stone. Beyond it lies King's Chamber, granite heart containing single empty stone box. This, we're told, is sarcophagus of Khufu, pharaoh who built this wonder around 2580 BCE. But deeper you look, less it feels like tomb, more it feels like something else entirely. In ancient Egypt, death was not end, but journey, meticulously planned and lavishly documented. Tombs were not mere graves. They were gateways to eternity, adorned with hieroglyphs, spells, scenes of afterlife, Book of Dead, pyramid texts. Countless inscriptions guided soul through underworld, naming gods, mapping challenges, ensuring immortality. Pharaohs filled resting places with treasures, canopic jars, shabti figurines, offerings of food and wine. Even minor nobles had tombs painted with vibrant murals of daily life, farming, music, feasts meant to continue forever. Valley of Kings is library of such stories, its walls shouting names and deeds of dead. But Great Pyramid is silent. No hieroglyphs grace its chambers. No paintings depict gods. No spells point way to afterlife. Just stone, angles, and void where King's legacy should be. King's Chamber at Pyramid's core is marvel of construction. Walls made of massive granite blocks, hauled from Aswan, 800 kilometers away, fitted so tightly razor blade can't slip between them. Ceiling, series of granite beams, distributes weight of millions of tons above, stable for over 4,500 years. Inside sits rectangular granite box, often called sarcophagus, but it's unlike any other in Egypt. No lid, no carvings, no traces of mummification oils or resins, too small to hold nested coffins, typical of royal burials, too plain for Pharaoh's grandeur. No body was ever found, no grave goods, no fragments of ritual objects. Compare this to tomb of Tutankhamun, overflowing with gold, chariots, sacred texts, or even modest burials of lesser nobles, packed with personal relics. Great Pyramid, supposedly greatest tomb of all, offers nothing but emptiness. Some argue it was looted in antiquity, treasures stolen, inscriptions erased, but this theory crumbles under scrutiny. Passages show no signs of forced entry, no chisel marks, no broken seals, no scattered debris from hurried theft. Tomb robbers in ancient Egypt were not subtle. They left behind shattered pottery, broken furniture, soot from torches. Here, there's nothing. No residue, no fragments, not even dust to suggest burial was disturbed. Box itself, cold and unadorned, shows no wear from lid being pried off or body being removed. To believe it was looted, You'd have to imagine thieves so meticulous they erased every trace. That's not robbery, that's erasure, and it feels far too deliberate. Others suggest pyramid was early prototype, built before tradition of decorating tombs took hold, but this idea falters against evidence of its sophistication. Great Pyramid is no primitive experiment. Geometry is flawless. Alignment to true north unmatched. Internal design masterpiece of engineering. Grand gallery with corbelled ceiling is structural marvel, distributing weight with precision later pyramids couldn't replicate. Air shafts extending from King's Chamber align with stars like Orion's belt, suggesting purpose tied to cosmos. Later pyramids are smaller, less precise, sometimes structurally flawed. Bent pyramid nearly collapsed until angle was adjusted mid-construction. If anything, Great Pyramid is peak, not beginning, of art form that was never equaled again. So if it's not tomb, what is it? Absence of burial evidence invites us to rethink purpose. King's Chamber, with strange acoustic properties, offers clue. Sounds inside resonate in ways that feel engineered, as if space was designed to amplify specific frequencies. Researchers have measured chambers' dimensions, found they correspond to harmonic ratios, creating echoes that linger unnaturally. Granite, denser than surrounding limestone, enhances this effect, vibrating in response to certain tones. Could pyramid have been a tool for interacting with forces beyond physical, vibrational, cosmic, even spiritual? Structures' astronomical alignments deepen mystery. Air shafts point to specific stars. Orion's belt in south, pole star in north, as they appeared around 2450 BCE. This precision suggests advanced understanding of celestial mechanics, far beyond practical astronomy of Egyptians, who tracked Nile's floods but left no record of such calculations. Pyramid's orientation to true north requires knowledge of Earth's axis and magnetic field, concepts not documented in ancient texts. Some researchers speculate it was observatory, monument designed to map heavens, perhaps to align human activity with cosmic cycles. But why build it on such massive scale, with such enduring materials? If it was only for observation, bolder idea emerges. What if Great Pyramid was machine, not of metal or wires, but of stone and intention? Some theorists, inspired by figures like Nikola Tesla, suggest it was designed to generate or channel energy, perhaps electromagnetic or acoustic, using principles we're only beginning to rediscover. Granite in King's Chamber, rich in quartz, could act as conductor or resonator, amplifying natural energies. Pyramid's shape, with precise angles, might focus these forces, creating field effect we can't yet measure. Experiments in 20th century found that small-scale pyramid models could preserve organic matter or sharpen blades, hinting at properties tied to their geometry. While these claims are debated, they fuel speculation that Great Pyramid was technology, its purpose lost when builders vanished. Then there's shadow of stranger possibility. Pyramid's scale, precision, silence have led some to wonder if it was built with help from beyond Earth. Erich von Daniken proposed that extraterrestrial beings might have guided ancient architects, sharing knowledge of mathematics and engineering. Great Pyramid's anomalies fit this narrative. Why else would civilization build something so vast, yet leave no name, no story? Could it be beacon, signal to stars, gift from visitors who knew their time on Earth was fleeting? More grounded, yet no less profound, is theory that pyramid was repository, not of bodies or treasure, but of knowledge. Its silence, lack of inscriptions, might be intentional, designed to speak to any civilization in any era through universal language of geometry. Unlike papyrus or hieroglyphs, which decay or become unreadable, stone endures. Pyramid's proportions, encoding pi and phi, are message that transcends language, culture, time. It could be safeguard against catastrophe, flood, collapse, forgetting that wipes away all else. By building something that could survive millennia, creators ensured future generations would find not King's name, but blueprint of cosmos, reminder of what was known and lost. This brings us to heart of enigma. Great Pyramid doesn't behave like tomb, doesn't serve rituals of Egyptian religion, doesn't glorify pharaoh or gods. It stands apart, structure that feels alien to culture that claims it. Only inscription. Khufu's faint cartouche is whisper in monument that roars with presence. If it was built for king, why is it so empty? If it was built for gods, why is it so silent? If it was built for us, what are we supposed to learn? Pyramid doesn't answer, it only watches, its stones holding secrets that refuse to yield. As you drift towards sleep, picture yourself in King's chamber, surrounded by granite that hums with ancient intent. Air is heavy, silence alive, stones pressing down with weight of questions unasked. Great Pyramid is not tomb, not temple, but presence, machine, memory. It was built to outlast world that made it, to speak to those who come after, not in words, but in language of angles and echoes. Whoever built it, whatever they meant, they left us challenge, to look beyond stories, to listen to silence, to wonder what truth lies in space where king should be, but isn't. We uncover relic that challenges very heart of story we've been told. Single slab of limestone, buried in sand, that speaks not of creation, but of restoration. Inventory Stela, found in shadow of Sphinx, tells us that Khufu didn't build monuments of Giza. He found them, ancient and sacred, sought only to preserve their power. It was 1858 when French archaeologist Auguste Mariette knelt in sand at base of Sphinx. He wasn't chasing grand discoveries that day, only clearing debris as part of routine survey of Giza Plateau. His workers, digging through centuries of accumulated sand, unearthed broken, weathered piece of limestone, unremarkable at first glance. No gold adorned it, no jewels gleamed, no royal flourishes caught eye, just slab covered in hieroglyphs that demanded careful translation to reveal meaning. But when text was decoded, it sent tremor through world of Egyptology, tremor that has been quietly suppressed ever since. Inventory Stela didn't sing praises of Pharaoh's conquests or divine mandate. It told humbler, stranger story. Khufu didn't carve Sphinx or raise pyramids. He found them already ancient, dedicated himself to their care. Stela's text is unlike boastful inscriptions, typical of Egyptian monuments. Pharaohs were masters of propaganda, etching names and deeds into every surface to ensure immortality. But Inventory Stela speaks in different tone, reverent, almost deferential. It describes how Khufu came upon Sphinx, buried in sand, form weathered, but presence commanding. He didn't claim to have built it, instead, organized its restoration, clearing dunes that choked its body, building temples nearby to honor its guardian power. Stela mentions Isis, goddess of magic, as mistress of pyramid, references temple beside Sphinx, now lost to time. Most strikingly, it lists shrines and offerings Khufu established, not as creator, but as caretaker of something far older than his reign. This is no small detail. In ancient Egypt, monuments were more than stone. They were theological statements, proof of Pharaoh's divine right to rule. Every structure had patron, purpose, connection to cosmic order that justified king's power. To find monument like Sphinx without clear royal claim is not just unusual, it's unthinkable. Stela suggests that even Khufu's priests believed Sphinx belonged to time before their king. Sacred landscape that demanded respect rather than ownership. If Khufu saw himself as restorer rather than builder, what does that say about monuments we attribute to him? Could entire Giza complex predate pharaohs, inherited by civilization that claimed them as its own? Implications are staggering. If Sphinx was already ancient when Khufu arrived, Great Pyramid might also be older. Traditional timeline places pyramid's construction around 2580 BCE, pinnacle of Old Kingdom engineering. But Stela hints at different story. one where Egypt's greatest monuments were not born of Khufu's ambition, but discovered by him, relics of forgotten era. This challenges very foundation of Egyptology, which rests on assumption that Giza's wonders emerged from 4th dynasty's genius. If they were inherited, built by civilization lost to history, then Egypt itself becomes layer atop something older, something deliberately obscured. But here's where sand grows heavy with silence. Inventory Stela, despite explosive implications, was quickly sidelined. After discovery, it was moved to Egyptian Museum in Cairo, where it sits in obscurity, rarely displayed, never featured in major exhibitions. Egyptologists dismissed it as late-period propaganda, text from 26th dynasty, some 2,000 years after Khufu's time, written by priests with questionable motives. They argued it was historical fiction, fabrication to serve political ends. We can't fully discern. Textbooks barely mention it. When they do, it's as curiosity, not serious document. This dismissal is so thorough, so unified, it feels less like scholarship and more like coordinated effort to bury inconvenient truth. Let's pause and consider this. Why would priests over millennium after Khufu invent story that diminishes his legacy? Egyptian tradition was obsessed with glorifying pharaohs, especially foundational figures like Khufu, whose name was synonymous with greatest monument on earth. Retroactive myth-making was common, but it always served to elevate rulers, linking them to past greatness, not reducing them to caretakers. Inventory Stela does opposite. It portrays Khufu as servant of older gods, restorer of sacred sites. He didn't create. If this was propaganda, it's most counterproductive in history, undermining divine authority of legendary king. It raises more questions than answers, casting doubt on very narrative it should reinforce. Why would anyone craft such story unless it held kernel of truth? Truth too uncomfortable to embrace. Dismissal of Stela creates its own contradictions. Egyptologists rely on other late-period texts when they support established timeline. Yet Inventory Stela is labeled unreliable because it doesn't. This double standard smells of intellectual gatekeeping, way to protect accepted chronology while stifling inquiry. Stela's message threatens to unravel neat progression of Egyptian history. It suggests pharaohs were not originators of Giza's wonders, but inheritors, custodians of legacy they couldn't fully claim. And if that's true, who were true builders? What knowledge did they possess? Why was it buried beneath weight of new civilization's story? This question echoes beyond Egypt. In ancient Samaria, texts describe ziggurats and sacred sites tied to gods older than human memory, structures that kings restored rather than built. In Mesopotamia, Epic of Gilgamesh speaks of city Uruk, with walls built by gods before its kings took power. Could Inventory Stela be part of broader pattern, where ancient civilizations claimed older monuments as their own, weaving them into new myths to legitimize their rule? Stela's reference to Isis as mistress of pyramid is particularly haunting. Isis, goddess of creation and magic, was rarely linked to specific monuments. Her presence in text suggests pyramid held significance beyond Khufu's reign, tied to forces or knowledge that predated his dynasty. And then there's matter of what's missing. Stela is broken, edges worn, but text that remains is curiously selective. It details Khufu's restoration, his temples, his offerings, but says nothing about who built Sphinx or when. This absence feels intentional, as if stone was meant to preserve just enough to honor monument's sanctity without revealing its origins. Some speculate that earlier inscriptions, now lost, might have named true builders. Civilization erased from history, perhaps by time, perhaps by design. Stela's survival feels like whisper that slipped through cracks, voice that wasn't supposed to speak. As we sink deeper into mystery, Inventory Stela becomes more than relic. It's challenge to everything we've been taught about Giza. It tells us that Khufu may have been pilgrim, kneeling before monuments he couldn't claim. It tells us that Sphinx was part of sacred landscape older than Egypt itself. And it tells us that someone, somewhere, wanted that truth to fade, locked away in museum, dismissed as myth. As you drift towards sleep, Imagine Khufu standing before Sphinx, its stone face gazing past him to horizon he couldn't comprehend. Inventory Stela is whisper from that moment. Whisper that says past is not what we think. Truth is buried deeper than we dare to dig. Journey to moment over 1,000 years later. When Prince never meant to be king, lay down in shadow of Sphinx, and heard its voice in dream. Dream Stela, of Thutmose the Firth, tells tale of divine promises and buried gods. But more than that, it reveals truth that shakes foundations of Egypt's history. Sphinx was forgotten, even by civilization that claimed it. It's around 1401 BCE, 18th dynasty of Egypt, time of power and prosperity. Giza Plateau should be heart of sacred reverence, testament to Pharaoh's divine legacy. But something is wrong. Sphinx is disappearing. Sand has swallowed its body, leaving only head and chest above dunes. No priests tend its presence. No festivals honor its gaze. No inscriptions mark its purpose. This is not icon we know today, celebrated as Sentinel of Giza. It's neglected relic, ignored by very culture that supposedly carved it under Khafre just 800 years earlier. How could monuments so vast, so central to Egypt's sacred landscape, be abandoned to desert's embrace? Prince Thutmose was not destined for throne. Older brothers stood ahead of him, divine bloodlines securing their place in Egypt's cosmic order. But one day, during hunting expedition on Giza Plateau, Thutmose rested in shade of Sphinx's buried form. Exhausted, he fell asleep between its paws, where sand had piled high, hiding lion's body from world. What happened next is etched into Dream Stela, monument still standing today, its words testament to moment that changed Prince's fate. In his sleep, Sphinx spoke, identifying itself as Hor-Emiket, horizon god, guardian of dawn. Its voice was not triumphant, but plaintive, heavy with centuries of neglect. It complained of sand filling its throat, choking its spirit, of being forgotten by people who once revered it. Sphinx had watched sun rise alone, day after day, with no offerings, no priests, no acknowledgement of its sacred vigil. God offered Thutmose bargain, simple yet profound. If Prince would clear sand from its body, restore temples that had crumbled, revive rituals that had faded, throne of Egypt would be his. Not as prize for ambition, but as duty, born of service. Thutmose accepted. He rallied workers, cleared tons of sand, revealed Sphinx's full form for first time in generations, offered gold, incense, prayers, establishing new priesthood to maintain its worship. Within months, through series of events no records fully explain, Thutmose became pharaoh. Thutmose the Fourth, ruler of kingdom he was never meant to lead. Dream Stela stands as testament to his divine encounter. Story of forgotten god, reclaiming its place through Prince's devotion. But this tale is more than royal propaganda. It's fracture in Egypt's timeline, crack that reveals how deeply Sphinx had been erased from memory. If it was carved by Khafre, only 800 years separate his reign from Thutmose. Egypt was civilization obsessed with continuity, recording its kings, mapping its tombs, preserving its gods in stone and papyrus. 18th dynasty had records of rulers from over 1,000 years past, names and deeds meticulously preserved. Yet Sphinx had no active cult, no priesthood, no place in religious calendar. It had become invisible, buried not just in sand, but in collective forgetting of culture that should have cherished it. How could something so monumental slip through cracks of memory? Dream Stela's language adds to mystery. It's not triumphant declaration of Pharaoh's glory, as most inscriptions are. It's intimate, almost personal, describing Sphinx's sufferings, sand in its throat, voice muffled, purpose unfulfilled. God speaks of loneliness, of centuries spent watching horizon without acknowledgement. This is not tone of formulaic propaganda, designed to inflate rulers' ego. It feels like genuine encounter. Moment when Prince stumbled upon something ancient and abandoned, something that demanded to be remembered. Stela details excavation process, quality of sand, difficulty of clearing it, condition of stone after centuries of burial. These specifics, mundane yet vivid, are unusual for royal inscriptions, which typically focus on divine favor, not logistical challenges. They suggest truth, too real to be entirely invented, and yet there's shadow over Stela itself. Its upper third, where builder of Sphinx might have been named, is missing. Break is clean, not worn by time, but severed, possibly in antiquity, as if someone wanted to erase critical piece of story. What remains supports Thutmose's claim to throne. Divine bargain, successful excavation, political miracle, but absence of builder's identity feels calculated. Ensuring narrative serves present without challenging past. Egyptologists dismiss Stela as propaganda, myth to justify unexpected succession, but this explanation falters. For story to work as propaganda, Sphinx must already have been forgotten. Its significance lost to very people who supposedly built it. Why would Thutmose stake his legitimacy on monument no one remembered, unless it held power older than his dynasty? This brings deeper question. If Sphinx was forgotten by 18th dynasty, what does that say about its origins? In Mesopotamia, texts like Epic of Gilgamesh describe ancient cities and structures attributed to gods or heroes from distant past, their builders shrouded in myth. Could Sphinx belong to similar tradition, relic from time before Egypt's kings, revered yet unclaimed? Stela's reference to Horemheb ties Sphinx to sun cycle, universal symbol that predates Egyptian religion. Perhaps it was sacred site long before pharaohs. Its purpose so profound that even they could only honor, not create it. Dream Stela's silence about Sphinx's builder mirrors silence of monument itself. No inscriptions mark its body. No cartouches claim its creation. This absence feels deliberate, as if builders chose anonymity over glory. But why? Were they protecting secret, knowledge too sacred or dangerous to be recorded? Or did they belong to civilizations so distant that their names were already lost when Egypt rose? Stela suggests latter, that Sphinx was mystery even to Thutmose, God that spoke from time before time, demanding remembrance from prince who stumbled into its presence. As we drift deeper into enigma, Dream Stela becomes mirror reflecting our own questions. It tells us that Sphinx, now icon, was once forgotten, buried by sand and neglect. It tells us that Prince heard its voice, not in triumph, but in desperation, plead to be freed from oblivion. And it tells us that Egypt, for all its records and rituals, could lose track of its greatest monument. As you sink towards sleep, imagine lying between Sphinx's paws, sand warm beneath you, its stone face, gazing at horizon older than memory. Dream Stela is not just story of king, it's cry from God that was lost. Question that lingers, what else have we forgotten, and who made sure we did? We descend beneath Giza Plateau, into a world of hidden chambers and forgotten passages, where Earth itself guards secrets older than monuments above. What lies below pyramids and Sphinx? Network of tunnels, voids, rooms that hint at purpose far beyond tombs. Purpose that someone, somewhere, has worked to keep hidden. Giza Plateau is more than collection of stone giants standing under sun. Beneath its surface lies labyrinth, subterranean realm that defies everything we've been taught about ancient Egypt. For over a century, explorers have reported strange discoveries below pyramids and Sphinx, cavities too regular to be natural, passages too precise to be mere tomb shafts, chambers that seem to belong to design we can't yet name. These findings, documented in dusty journals and half-forgotten maps, paint picture of plateau that is hollow, network of spaces carved with intent, hidden from world above. Yet whenever these discoveries surface, they vanish just as quickly, sealed off, dismissed, denied. Question isn't just what lies beneath Giza, it's why we're not allowed to know. One of most documented underground features is Osiris Shaft. Located near Causeway of Khafre's Pyramid, this vertical tunnel plunges over 30 meters into limestone bedrock, descent that feels more like journey to another world than simple tomb. Shaft is divided into 3 levels, each more mysterious than last. Upper chamber is small, accessible only by narrow passage that demands specialized equipment to navigate. Second level is flooded with groundwater, turn murky barrier that has thwarted thorough exploration, but preserved whatever lies below. Third level, deepest of all, opens into large room with 6 side niches, carved with precision that rivals stonework of pyramids above. At its center sits stone box, often called sarcophagus, but it tells different story. No stains of decomposition, no traces of mummification, no signs it ever held body. Chamber's walls, smooth and unadorned, bear tool marks so consistent they suggest single skilled team at work. Acoustics are uncanny. Whispers carry clearly, while louder sounds seem muffled, as if space was designed to shape sound itself. This is no ordinary tomb. Egyptian burials were filled with inscriptions, offerings, relics to guide soul. Osiris Shaft has none of these, just silence. Precision, purpose we can't name. Some call it symbolic tomb for Osiris, god of underworld tied to later dynasties. But its depth, craftsmanship, emptiness feel older, stranger, as if it belongs to time before Egypt's gods were born. Shaft is closed to public, rarely studied, barely mentioned in official records. Why, if it's just empty chamber, the secrecy? Answer lies not in what it contains, but in what it suggests about Plateau's hidden depths. Osiris Shaft is only one piece of larger puzzle. In 19th century, early explorers described subterranean chambers beneath Giza, extending far beyond what tomb would require. Ernest Alfred Wallace Budge wrote of passages and cavities that felt too deliberate to be natural, too extensive to serve single burial. During Napoleon's expedition in 1798, scholars mapped a network of underground spaces, corridors, stairways, rooms that connected pyramids and Sphinx in ways that hinted at coordinated design. These maps, drawn before modern tourism altered sight, show features that no longer appear on official plans. Some passages were filled with rubble, as if deliberately sealed. Others were clean, as if maintained long after their creation. These reports were dismissed as exaggerations by colonial adventurers who didn't understand what they saw. But maps still exist, tucked away in archives, whispering of Giza we're not meant to explore. In 1926, Herbert Eustace Winlock wrote of catacombs beneath Plateau, chambers with carved walls, stairways descending deeper than any tomb required, passages that followed geometric patterns rather than irregular sprawl of natural caves. These descriptions suggest something more than burial sites. Infrastructure, foundation for purpose we can't yet grasp, yet no museum displays models of these spaces. No textbooks teach their existence. Academic world labels them as fissures, unfinished shafts, errors of early explorers. But consistency of accounts across decades, across cultures, makes dismissal feel less like science and more like suppression. Most compelling evidence came in 2008, when Egyptian researchers used ground-penetrating radar to map subsurface of Giza Plateau. Their scans revealed network of voids, tunnels, chambers stretching beneath pyramids and Sphinx. Some matched old maps of Napoleon's team, confirming that early explorers had seen real structures, not illusions. Others were entirely new, large geometric cavities that couldn't be explained by natural erosion. Beneath Sphinx, they found spaces with regular shapes, suggesting artificial construction. Beneath Great Pyramid, they detected chambers unconnected to known passages, hinting at separate older phase of building. Photographs from these surveys show cut stone, crude steps, archways in darkness, features that don't match rough-hewn shafts of Egyptian tombs or polished masonry of pyramids above. These discoveries pointed to complex underground network, one that predates or exists apart from monuments we see. And then doors closed. Egyptian authorities declared there is nothing there. No explanation for photographs, no acknowledgement of radar data, no reference to historical maps. Access was revoked. Findings buried in bureaucratic silence. Journalists who pressed for answers were met with blank denials. Tunnels documented, measured, even entered, were sealed again. This is an isolated incident. In 1930s, excavation beneath Sphinx reportedly uncovered chamber between its paws, described by workers as artificially constructed. It was quickly backfilled, no official report published. Later radar scans confirmed hollow space in same location, yet independent researchers were barred from investigating. Official stance remains unwavering. Nothing lies beneath Giza that matters. But when evidence is photographed, mapped, then declared irrelevant, that's not archaeology. It's erasure. This pattern of concealment raises haunting question. What lies beneath Giza that's so threatening? It must be hidden. Underground network suggests purpose beyond tombs. Perhaps foundation for entire plateau, built before pyramids rose. Osiris shafts acoustics, geometric precision of mapped voids, clean cuts of buried passages point to infrastructure. Engineered system designed for function we don't understand. Some speculate it was ritual space, meant to amplify sound or energy, like resonance chambers in ancient sites where sound frequencies induced trance-like states. Others propose it was storage system, not for treasure, but for knowledge, like mythical Hall of Records described by Edgar Cayce, said to hold secrets of lost civilization. Most unsettling possibility is that these chambers predate pharaohs entirely. If Sphinx with its water erosion hails from time 7,000 years ago, could this network belong to same builders? Civilization that reshaped bedrock, carving spaces to endure catastrophe they foresaw? Construction techniques, smooth walls, precise angles don't always match Egyptian methods. Some tool marks suggest tools or methods unknown to Old Kingdom, hinting at technology lost to history. Flooded second level of Osiris shaft, preserved by water, might hold clues untouched by time. Yet it remains off limits, its secrets drowned in silence. This brings us to darker truth. Suppression of these discoveries feels deliberate, as if underground network threatens narrative of Egyptian history. If Giza was built on older foundation, if its chambers were carved by people before pharaohs, it upends timeline of human civilization. It suggests Egyptians were not originators of their greatest wonders, but inheritors, claiming legacy they couldn't replicate. Authorities' refusal to explore further mirrors patterns seen elsewhere. Texts lost in fires, inscriptions destroyed in quakes, discoveries silenced by institutional power. Why? What could be so dangerous about few tunnels and chambers? Perhaps it's not spaces themselves, but what they represent. Chapter of history we're not ready to read. Civilization we're not supposed to remember. As you sink towards sleep, picture yourself descending Osiris shaft, stone cool under your touch, air thick with weight of ages. Chambers below Giza are not just voids. They're questions, carved in bedrock, waiting for answers. They speak of time before kings, before gods. When plateau was shaped for purpose, we can only guess. Network beneath pyramids is map of forgotten. Labyrinth, where memory itself lies buried, waiting for someone brave enough to follow its paths. In 1993, small wheeled robot named Upwat made history. Built by German engineer Rudolf Gantenbrink, it was sent into Great Pyramid, to inspect narrow air shafts, passages too small for humans to enter. These shafts, extending from Queen's Chamber, were long thought to be symbolic, perhaps aligned with stars, meant for Pharaoh's soul to ascend. They slope upward at steep angles, barely 20 centimeters wide, walls polished to smoothness that defies ancient tools. Gantenbrink's mission was practical, to improve ventilation and map shaft's route. What Upyawat 2 found was anything but routine. As it climbed southern shaft over 60 meters long, its camera beamed back images that stunned world. Stone door, perfectly fitted, with 2 copper pins protruding like silent sentinels. This was no collapse, no rough end to passage, but deliberate barrier, sealed for millennia, hiding something pyramids builders didn't want found. Footage was mesmerizing. Shaft's walls, untouched by time, gleamed with precision. Limestone blocks joined so tightly, no mortar was needed. Angles never wavered. Surfaces showed no tool marks, as if carved by method we can't explain. Then at end, door appeared, smooth rectangular slab, copper pins glinting under robot's light. These pins weren't hinges or handles, too small, too awkwardly placed for any mechanical purpose. Were they symbolic? Markers of sacred boundary? Something else entirely? Discovery sent shockwaves through archaeological community. Here was proof of hidden spaces within pyramid, spaces sealed since its creation. Challenging idea that every chamber had been mapped. World watched breathless. Headlines proclaimed new era of exploration. Could this door lead to lost chamber? Repository of ancient knowledge? Something even stranger? But excitement was short-lived. Gantenbrink's contract was abruptly terminated by Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities. His access to pyramid was revoked. Research halted without explanation. Official reason was that he had exceeded his mandate, which was limited to ventilation, not exploration. Yet door was found during legitimate shaft inspection. Stopping investigation at moment of breakthrough felt like more than bureaucracy. It felt like suppression. Media frenzy faded. Door remained sealed, its secrets untouched. Why? What could lie behind slab of stone that warranted such swift silencing? Question lingered unanswered for nearly decade. In 2002, new team was granted access, armed with more advanced robot, Pyramid rover, equipped with cameras, drills, fiber optic technology. World tuned in again, expecting answers after years of silence. Live broadcasts promised to reveal what lay beyond mysterious door. Robot navigated same southern shaft, cameras capturing same flawless stonework, until it reached door with copper pins. With painstaking care, it drilled small hole through slab, process that revealed stone's incredible hardness. As if designed to resist intrusion, fiber optic camera was inserted. World held its breath, anticipating treasures, inscriptions, glimpse into pyramid's heart. What camera showed was another chamber, empty, precise, silent, with second stone door on far wall. No hieroglyphs, no artifacts, just more stone, more mystery. Another barrier. This discovery only deepened enigma. Why build shaft too narrow for humans, leading to sealed door, only to hide another door behind it? Chamber's walls were as smooth as shafts, construction as meticulous, suggesting purpose beyond decoration or ritual. Copper pins, hammered flat, seemed to mark first door as significant, perhaps warning, symbol of something sacred. But second door, identical in silence, hinted at design meant to delay, to confound, to protect something not meant to be reached. Broadcast ended. Press cycle faded. No further expeditions were launched. Second door remains unopened, its secrets locked away. Official narrative returned to silence. Some claimed mystery was solved. Shafts were symbolic, doors meaningless. Chamber empty, but emptiness isn't absence. It's choice, design, statement carved in stone. Implications are profound. Shafts and doors suggest Great Pyramid hides spaces we've never seen. built with precision that challenges understanding of ancient technology. Shafts maintain exact alignments over 60 meters, angles never deviating, surfaces flawless. This isn't work of crude tools or hasty construction. It's product of vision that planned every detail. Copper pins, made of metal sacred to Egyptian religion. Add another layer. Copper associated with gods and divine power was rare and difficult to work in ancient times. Why place it in passage no one could enter? Some speculate pins are markers, not for opening door, but for signaling its import. Boundary, not to be crossed, secret not to be revealed. This brings bold hypothesis. Doors might lead to fabled Hall of Records, chamber described by mystic Edgar Cayce in early 20th century. Cayce claimed that beneath Sphinx and within pyramid lies repository of knowledge from lost civilization, possibly Atlantis, containing texts, tools, even technologies that could rewrite history. Radar anomalies beneath Sphinx detected in 1980s and 2000s support idea of hidden spaces. Pyramid shafts could connect to this network. Doors sealed with such care might protect this archive, meant only for time or people ready to understand it. Copper pins, symbolic of divine connection, could mark threshold to sacred knowledge, test of wisdom rather than force. But why stop exploration? Silencing of Gontenbrink and halt after Pyramid Rover's discovery suggests more than caution. It suggests fear. Egyptian authorities, backed by institutions like Supreme Council of Antiquities, have consistently blocked access to sensitive sites. Is it about preserving monuments or preserving narrative? If doors lead to evidence of civilization predating Egypt, one with advanced technology or knowledge, it would unravel timeline of human history. Pyramid, credited to Khufu, would become relic of older world. Egyptology's foundation would crumble. This threat might explain pattern of denial. Tunnels sealed, radar data dismissed. Researchers turned away. It's as if truth behind doors is too dangerous to face. This pattern isn't unique to Giza. In Mesoamerica, excavations at Teotihuacan uncovered tunnels beneath Pyramid of Sun, sealed for centuries. Yet exploration was limited by official restrictions. In Turkey, ancient site of Göbekli Tepe, dating back 12,000 years, faced delays in study. Its implications for early civilization too disruptive to embrace quickly. Doors and Great Pyramid fit this mold. Discoveries that challenge story of human progress are met with silence, not science. Could there be global effort, ancient or modern, to keep certain truths hidden? Some even whisper of extraterrestrial involvement, suggesting pyramids' precision and hidden chambers point to alien architects. Theory popularized by Erich von Däniken, while speculative, it underscores question. Why build something so complex, so inaccessible, unless it was meant to remain mystery? As you drift towards sleep, imagine standing before those sealed doors, stone barriers that have waited thousands of years, copper pins glinting in darkness like stars. Robots' discovery is more than archaeological find. It's challenge to everything we think we know about past. Behind those doors lies truth we're not supposed to see, knowledge too powerful or too alien to reveal. Doors remain sealed, but questions they raise will not be silenced. They echo through corridors of time, asking us to remember what we were never meant to forget. Picture Cairo in late 1800s, city alive with fever of discovery. European collectors, scholars, adventurers scoured Egypt's markets and monasteries, hungry for relics of ancient past. 19th century was golden age of Egyptology, when every artifact, every papyrus promised to unlock secrets of civilization that had captivated world. In quiet Coptic monastery, collector met elderly monk, keeper of small bundle of manuscripts. These were no ordinary texts. Coptic monasteries had been sanctuaries of knowledge for centuries, preserving fragments of early Christian and pre-Islamic writings through wars, invasions, time's relentless march. Monk claimed his collection held treasures passed down for generations, texts that had survived when empires fell, copied and recopied by hands that revered their weight. Among manuscripts was scroll that stood apart, written in Sahidic Coptic, dialect of Egypt's early Christian era, laced with older phrases monk could not read, hints of language predating even Coptic tongue. Scroll's contents, as described to collector, were staggering. It spoke of land along Nile before its modern course, before river's great bend, before delta formed. It described 3 great beacons of stone, not named as pyramids, but as structures aligned to stars, sealed not as tombs, but as vaults of memory. Text called them ancient, built before language, before Nile changed its path, before kings of Egypt rose to power. When collector pressed for meaning, monk's words were cryptic. They were built before words, before river knew its place. This was no myth of pharaohs or gods. It was glimpse into time before history as we know it. Collector purchased scroll along with others, took it to Europe where Orientalist scholars waited to decipher its secrets. 19th century was time of meticulous study. Universities and museums investing heavily in translating ancient texts. Linguists would have pored over Coptic script. Historians cross-referenced it with known sources. Scroll promised to be Rosetta Stone of sorts, key to chapter of human history we've never read. Its mention of pyramids as beacons and vaults of memory suggested they were not tombs but something else, perhaps repositories of knowledge, built to survive catastrophe that erased their creators. If true, this text could have shattered timeline of Egyptian civilization, placing pyramids in prehistoric era, tied to people we've never named. But before single word could be translated, tragedy struck, or so we're told. Details are maddeningly vague. Some accounts say fire consumed collector's private study, reducing scroll to ash. Others claim it was archive building, perhaps in Vienna or Lyon, where manuscript was stored. Uncertainty itself is suspicious, as if story was meant to blur into obscurity. What we know is this: scroll was lost along with much of collector's collection in blaze, that left no copies, no photographs, no detailed notes. This was no ordinary loss. In 19th century, scholars understood fragility of ancient texts. Important manuscripts were routinely copied, sketched, described to prevent such disasters. Yet this scroll, potentially most significant find of its time, vanished without trace, leaving only second-hand letter, quoting monks' cryptic words about Nile and beacons. This disappearance feels too convenient, too perfectly timed. Text that might have placed pyramids before language, before Egypt, was destroyed just as it reached hands of those who could read it. Letter, only surviving reference, offers no details beyond monk's claim, as if scroll's very existence was meant to be whisper, not shout. Historians dismiss story as misunderstanding, suggesting scroll, if it existed, was late Gnostic fable, symbolic retelling of Egypt's mythic past. They point to 19th century trade in fake relics, where locals sold forged artifacts to eager Europeans. But this explanation feels like containment, way to tuck uncomfortable possibility out of sight. If scroll was fake, why destroy it before its authenticity could be tested? Why ensure that no scholar, no linguist, could ever examine its words? Scroll's loss fits disturbing pattern across history. Texts that challenge established narratives have habit of disappearing. In 1700s, French scholars reported inscription near Aswan, listing kings predating Menes, supposed first pharaoh of Egypt. It could have extended Egypt's chronology by thousands of years. But wall collapsed in earthquake. Rubbings lost. Site never re-excavated. In early 20th century, German linguist claimed to have translated Nubian papyrus, mentioning stones of resonance west of Nile, only to die in World War I. His notes scattered. Each incident alone seems like misfortune. Together they suggest design. Invisible hand, ensuring certain truths never survive long enough to be heard. Coptic scroll with its talk of pyramids, before language fits this mold perfectly. It wasn't lost to time's decay, but to fire that burned at exact moment it might have spoken too much. What makes scroll so haunting is what it might have said. If it described pyramids as vaults of memory built before Nile's modern course, it aligns with other clues we've uncovered. Sphinx's water erosion points to time, 7,000 years ago when rains fell on green Sahara. Great Pyramid's mathematical codes suggest knowledge of Earth's dimensions and cosmic cycles. Underground network beneath Giza hints at infrastructure older than pharaohs. Scroll could have tied these threads together, naming civilization that built Giza's wonders before Egypt existed. Civilization that sealed its knowledge in stone, knowing its world was fading. Monk's words, "before Nile changed," are particularly chilling. Geological records confirm Nile's course shifted over millennia, its delta forming around 4000 BCE. If Scroll dated pyramids to this earlier era, it would place them in prehistoric world, challenging understanding of human progress. This brings darker question. Who had power to destroy such text, and why? Fire was an act of war or conquest, like burning of Library of Alexandria or destruction of Maya codices by Spanish conquistadors. It happened in peacetime, in hands of collector who had every reason to preserve it. Was it accident, or was it erased to protect narrative? If Scroll proved pyramids predated Egypt, it would unravel myth of pharaonic creation, suggesting Egyptians were inheritors, not originators. It would force us to rethink origins of monumental architecture, spread of advanced knowledge, possibility of lost civilization, perhaps Atlantis, as Plato described, or another culture erased by catastrophe. Such truth might have been too dangerous, not for national security, but for stories we tell about our place in history. As you drift towards sleep, imagine holding that fragile scroll, its ink fading under your touch, its words hinting at world before words. Coptic scroll is gone, but its absence speaks louder than its text ever could. Its reminder that some truths are too vast to be kept, too fragile to survive flames of time or hands that light them. Scroll burned, but its echo lingers. Whisper of time when pyramids stood before kings, before language, before Nile carved its path, waiting for us to remember what was never meant to be forgotten. Giza Plateau is monument to human ingenuity, or so we're told. Great Pyramid, Sphinx, temples credited to 4th dynasty, testament to Egypt's golden age. Yet every clue we've explored points to different story. Water erosion, suggesting prehistoric origin. Mathematical codes too advanced for their time. Empty chambers that defy burial traditions. Texts like Inventory Stela and Dream Stela describe restoration, not creation. Beneath Plateau, network of tunnels and voids hints at older purpose, while robots uncover sealed doors that no one is allowed to open. Scroll speaking of pyramids before language vanishes in flames. Each discovery, each anomaly, is met with same response: dismissal, denial, outright erasure. This isn't random. It's pattern, deliberate effort to control what we know about Giza. And it raises chilling question: what truth is so dangerous that it must be hidden at all costs? Heart of this concealment lies with Egyptology itself, field built on rigorous study, but also on rigid narratives. Accepted timeline places Great Pyramid and Sphinx in 4th dynasty around 2580 BCE. Constructed by Khufu and Khafre with copper tools and human labor, this story is neat, logical, comforting. It fits understanding of human progress, steady climb from primitive to civilized. But when evidence challenges this timeline, it's not met with curiosity, but with resistance. Inventory Stela, which suggests Khufu restored Sphinx, is tucked away in Egyptian museum in Cairo, rarely displayed, dismissed as late-period propaganda from 26th dynasty. Dream Stela, recounting Thutmose IV's divine encounter, is labeled political myth, its implications ignored. Water erosion on Sphinx, pointing to time 7,000 years ago, is brushed off as work of wind or groundwater. despite geological evidence to contrary. Why? Why does every anomaly face same fate? Buried, discredited, forgotten. This pattern of dismissal is what scholars call intellectual gatekeeping. Egyptology, like any academic field, guards its foundations fiercely. Timeline of Old Kingdom is cornerstone, built on decades of research, carbon dating, artifacts like Diary of Merer, which describes limestone transport for Khufu's pyramid. To admit that Giza's monuments might predate Egypt, or that they were built by lost civilization with advanced knowledge, would unravel this foundation. It would force rewrite of not just Egyptian history, but human history, suggesting sophisticated societies existed thousands of years before we thought possible. Such shift would challenge careers, reputations, authority of institutions like Supreme Council of Antiquities, which oversees Egypt's archaeological sites. Stakes are high, not just for science, but for power. Consider treatment of underground network beneath Giza. In 2008, ground-penetrating radar revealed complex of chambers, tunnels, voids, some matching 19th century reports by explorers like Wallace Budge and Napoleon's team. These spaces, with precise cuts and geometric patterns, suggest purpose beyond tombs. Infrastructure, perhaps for civilization, we don't know. Yet Egyptian authorities declared, there is nothing there. Photographs of carved passages, radar scans showing artificial cavities, historical maps were ignored or suppressed. Access was revoked. Researchers turned away. Findings vanished from public discourse. This echoes earlier incidents. 1930s, excavation beneath Sphinx, uncovered chamber only to be backfilled without study. Rudolf Gantenbrink's robot, Opawati 2, was halted after finding sealed door in 1993. Pyramid Rover's 2002 discovery of another door led to no further exploration. Each time, door to discovery slams shut. This isn't just about protecting artifacts from damage. Supreme Council of Antiquities, backed by Egyptian government, controls access to Giza with iron grip. Excavations require permits, funding, official approval, often tied to political and economic interests. Tourism is Egypt's lifeblood. Narrative of Giza as pharaonic achievement drives millions of visitors each year. Story of lost civilization, of pyramids predating Egypt, could disrupt this industry, casting doubt on nations' cultural heritage. But conspiracy runs deeper. Some speculate that global institutions like UNESCO, which funds and regulates archaeological sites, have vested interest in maintaining status quo. Discovery that rewrites history could destabilize not just Egyptology, but understanding of human progress, challenging linear narrative of civilization's rise. And then there's stranger possibility, one whispered in fringes of speculation. Could concealment involve forces beyond academia or government? Precision of Great Pyramid, its alignment with Orion's belt, its encoding of mathematical constants like pi and phi. These anomalies have fueled theories of extraterrestrial influence, popularized by authors like Erich von Däniken. If Giza's monuments were built with otherworldly knowledge, or if underground chambers hold evidence of advanced technology, revealing them could upend more than history books. It could challenge our place in cosmos, suggesting contact with beings we're not ready to acknowledge. While this idea stretches credulity, it underscores stakes. Truth that alters understanding of humanity's past might be too disruptive to be allowed into light. Pattern of erasure extends beyond Giza. In Mesopotamia, cuneiform tablets describing pre-flood civilizations were dismissed as myths until excavations like Göbekli Tepe proved otherwise. In Mesoamerica, Maya codices were burned by Spanish conquistadors, erasing knowledge that might have rivaled European science. Coptic scroll describing pyramids before language fits this mold. Text that could have shattered Egyptology, lost in suspiciously timed fire. These incidents, spread across centuries and continents, suggest systematic effort to control what we know about our origins. It's not about destroying every trace, but about managing information, ensuring only right story survives. Inventory Stela is hidden in museum. Underground chambers are sealed. Robots are stopped. Each act a brick in wall of silence. This conspiracy of concealment isn't just about power, it's about fear. If Giza's monuments were built by civilization before Egypt, one with knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, engineering beyond our assumptions, it forces us to confront fragility of our own story. Pharaohs, revered as living gods, become mere caretakers. Their divine authority, borrowed mantle, timeline of human progress, so carefully constructed, becomes lie, revealing gaps where advanced societies might have risen and fallen, their achievements buried by catastrophe or design. Institutions that guard Giza may fear not just truth, but its implications, that we are not pinnacle of history, but chapter and cycle of forgetting and rediscovery. As you sink towards sleep, imagine standing before Great Pyramid, its stones gleaming under stars, its secrets locked in chambers and scrolls we'll never see. Conspiracy of concealment is not single act, but shadow cast across centuries. Refusal to let certain truths breathe. Stelae, tunnels, doors, burned manuscript. They all point to Giza that belongs to time before Egypt. Time we're not supposed to know. Gatekeepers may lock doors, but stones still whisper. Their voices grow louder in silence of night, urging us to ask, what are they so afraid we'll find? We confront heart of mystery, technology behind Great Pyramid, marvel of precision, so advanced it challenges everything we believe about ancient capabilities. Was this work of copper tools and human labor, or something far beyond our understanding? Internal passages, descending passage, grand gallery, king's chamber, constructed with exactness that joints are invisible, angles unwavering, stability unyielding. After 4,500 years, we're told this was work of Pharaoh Khufu's 4th dynasty, around 2580 BCE, using ropes, ramps, copper chisels. But deeper we look, more implausible this explanation becomes, as if pyramid was built with tools and knowledge we can't explain, tools that feel alien to time we assign them. Consider sheer scale of task. Great Pyramid contains enough stone to build wall around small country, blocks cut from quarries sometimes hundreds of miles away. Granite in King's Chamber, sourced from Aswan 800 kilometers south, was shaped with precision that leaves no gap for sheet of paper. Modern experiments show copper tools, best available to Egyptians, struggle to cut limestone, let alone granite, which ranks among hardest stones known. To achieve pyramid smooth surfaces and tight joints, workers would have needed tools of exceptional durability, perhaps bronze or iron, neither of which existed in significant use during Old Kingdom. Logistics are equally daunting, moving 15-ton block across desert terrain, lifting it hundreds of feet, placing it with sub-millimeter accuracy would challenge today's cranes and lasers. Yet we're told this was done with sleds, rollers, human muscle, guided by starlight and water levels. Precision of pyramid's alignment raises even more questions. Its base is oriented to cardinal points, with error of just 0.05 degrees, feet requiring advanced surveying techniques. Modern builders using GPS and satellite navigation struggle to achieve such accuracy on this scale. Egyptians had no compasses, no theodolites, yet they aligned 13-acre structure to true north with near-perfect fidelity. Base is so level that variation across its span is 2.1 centimeters, implies mastery of topography that defies uneven limestone plateau it sits upon. To prepare such foundation, workers would have needed to measure and level vast areas with tools we have no record of, coordinating hundreds of laborers with precision that rivals modern engineering software. Internal passages, like Grand Gallery with corbelled ceiling, distribute millions of tons of weight so effectively that structure has endured earthquakes and invasions unscathed. This isn't trial and error construction, it's work of mind that understood physics, geometry, material science on level we associate with modern era. But it's not just construction that feels otherworldly. Pyramids' design incorporates knowledge that seems impossible for its time. Air shafts in King's Chamber, narrow and inaccessible, align with Orion's belt and pole star as they appeared around 2450 BCE, requiring understanding of stellar motion and precession. 920-year cycle in Earth's axial wobble. Egyptians tracked Nile's floods using stars, but no text suggests they calculated such long-term astronomical patterns. Pyramids' dimensions encode mathematical constants. Perimeter divided by height yields 2 pi. Slope embeds golden ratio phi. These ratios, precise to within fractions of percent, suggest grasp of advanced mathematics not documented in Egyptian records, which focus on practical geometry for land measurement, not universal constants. Even more astonishing, multiplying height by 43,200 approximates Earth's polar radius. Base perimeter by same factor matches equatorial circumference. This scaling factor, tied to precession, implies knowledge of planets' shape and size, concepts not formalized until centuries later. This level of sophistication invites radical question. Could Great Pyramid be product of technology we've lost, or one we've never understood? Tools and methods attributed to Egyptians fall short of explaining pyramids' precision. Some researchers propose alternative techniques, like acoustic levitation or advanced cutting methods, though no direct evidence supports these ideas. In ancient texts from other cultures, we find echoes of such possibilities. Sumerian Enigma Elish describes God's shaping world with tools of divine power. Indian texts, like Mahabharata, mention devices that move stones with sound or light. Could pyramids builders have used similar methods, lost when their civilization vanished? Absence of tool marks on pyramid stones, especially in smooth granite of King's Chamber, suggests technology that worked stone with finesse beyond chisels. Perhaps abrasives, precision saws, or something we can't yet name. This idea finds parallels in other ancient sites. At Stonehenge, 5,000 years old, massive sarsen stones were moved dozens of miles and erected with alignments to solstices, requiring engineering we struggle to explain. In Peru, Machu Picchu's stone walls feature blocks so tightly fitted they seem to defy gravity. No mortar, no visible tool marks. Baalbek trilithons in Lebanon, weighing up to 800 tons, were cut and placed with precision that challenges modern cranes. Most striking is Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, 12,000-year-old complex of carved pillars, some 20 tons, built before agriculture or writing. These sites, like Giza, suggest global tradition of advanced construction, knowledge that appeared suddenly and vanished just as quickly. Could Great Pyramid be part of this network, remnant of civilization that spanned continents, leaving its mark in stone before fading into oblivion? Most provocative theory goes further, suggesting extraterrestrial influence. Authors like Eric von Daniken argue pyramids' precision, alignments, mathematical codes point to alien architects or advisors who shared advanced technology with early humans. Idea is fringe, but it gains traction from pyramids' anomalies. How could culture, with no recorded knowledge of calculus or astronomy, achieve such feats? Lack of inscriptions, empty chambers, cosmic alignments, all could be signs of purpose, not rooted in human ambition, but in message meant for stars. While speculative, this theory underscores the gap between what we see and what we can explain, forcing us to consider possibilities beyond current understanding. More grounded hypothesis is that pyramid was technological marvel meant to preserve knowledge through catastrophe. Its silence, no hieroglyphs, no royal claims, suggests universal design meant for any civilization that could measure its proportions. Constants, encoded in its form, are timeless, surviving collapse of languages and cultures. Unlike papyrus or clay tablets, stone endures. Pyramid's resilience proves it was built for geological time, not human reigns. Could its builders have foreseen disaster, flood, climate shift, societal collapse, constructing monument to safeguard their understanding. African humid period ending around 4000 BCE transformed Sahara from green paradise to desert, displacing populations. If pyramid predates this shift, as Sphinx's erosion suggests, it might be beacon from lost world, designed to guide future generations back to truths they left behind. Picture Great Pyramid under starlit sky, its stones silent yet alive with purpose. Its technology, whether human, divine, or otherworldly, speaks through precision, not words. Language of angles and alignments that outlasts empires. Builders, whoever they were, left no name, only challenge. To measure, to question, to wonder. Their technology remains mystery, but its echo reverberates through time, asking us to remember what we've forgotten, to reach for knowledge that seems always just beyond our grasp. Tonight we chase legend that has haunted humanity for millennia. Tale of Atlantis, lost civilization, of unparalleled wisdom, said to have vanished in single night. Could monuments of Giza be its legacy? Final echo of people erased by catastrophe. Story of Atlantis begins with Plato, Greek philosopher who wrote of it around 360 BCE. He described mighty civilization, flourishing 9,000 years before his time, located beyond Pillars of Hercules, likely Strait of Gibraltar. Atlantis was marvel of architecture, engineering, culture, its people, masters of navigation, astronomy, technology. Their island, rich with resources, boasted concentric canals, grand temples, palaces of gleaming stone, but their hubris angered gods. In single day and night, earthquakes and floods swallowed Atlantis into sea, leaving no trace but story passed down through generations. Plato's account, dismissed by many as allegory, has fueled speculation for centuries. Could this lost civilization be key to Giza's mysteries? Its monuments remnant of world that vanished long before Egypt's rise? Great Pyramid and Sphinx, with their anomalies, fit eerily into this narrative. Sphinx's water erosion, as proposed by geologist Robert Schoch, points to time 7,000 to 10,000 years ago, when heavy rains fell on green Sahara. This aligns with Plato's timeline for Atlantis, placing its fall around 9,600 BCE, during end of African humid period, when climate shifts turned lush landscapes into desert. Pyramids' mathematical codes suggest knowledge of astronomy and geometry, far beyond what we attribute to Fourth Dynasty. Its precision implies technology that strains limits of copper tools and human labor. Could these monuments be work of Atlantean survivors, fleeing their sinking homeland to build lasting testament on Nile's banks? Idea isn't as far-fetched as it seems when we look beyond Egypt. Across world, ancient sites hint at lost chapter of human history. Göbekli Tepe, in Turkey, dated to 9,600 BCE, features massive stone pillars, some 20 tons, with intricate reliefs aligned with celestial events. Built before agriculture or writing, it challenges view of prehistoric societies as primitive. In Japan, Yonaguni Monument, submerged off coast, displays terraces and angles that suggest human craftsmanship from time when sea levels were lower, possibly 10,000 years ago. In Bolivia, Pumapunku's stone blocks, cut with laser-like precision, defy explanation with Inca tools. These sites, like Giza, share hallmark. They appear suddenly, fully formed, with no clear predecessors, as if drawing on knowledge that vanished with its creators. Could Atlantis, or civilization like it, have been source, its influence spreading across continents before cataclysm erased its heart? Giza Plateau offers clues that resonate with this theory. Underground network beneath pyramids and Sphinx, mapped by radar in 2008, reveals chambers and tunnels too precise to be natural, suggesting infrastructure older than pharaohs. Osiris Shaft, with its empty stone box and strange acoustics, feels less like tomb and more like relic of purpose. We can't name. Coptic scroll, lost to fire, spoke of beacons of stone built before language, description that echoes Plato's account of Atlantis's grand architecture. Inventory Stela and Dream Stela portray Khufu and Thutmose the Fear as restorers, not builders, as if Giza's monuments were inherited from time before Egypt. Together, these hints paint a picture of civilization that left its mark in stone, knowing its world was fading, its knowledge at risk of being forgotten. But what kind of civilization could achieve this? Plato described Atlantis as a society of advanced engineers, capable of building harbors, canals, temples that rivaled wonders of Greece. If Great Pyramid was their work, its construction suggests mastery of logistics, mathematics, material science. Pyramid's alignment with Orion's belt and pole star, tied to precession cycle of 25,920 years, implies understanding of astronomy that Egypt's records don't reflect. Absence of hieroglyphs could indicate culture that valued universal symbols, geometry, ratios, over transient languages. Atlantis, or similar civilization, might have built Giza as time capsule, encoding knowledge in stone to survive catastrophe they foresaw, whether flood, quake, or climate shift. This brings us to legend of Hall of Records, concept popularized by mystic Edgar Cayce in early 20th century. Cayce claimed that beneath Sphinx lies chamber containing wisdom of Atlantis, texts, tools, perhaps technologies that could redefine our past. Radar scans in 1980s and 2000s detected voids beneath Sphinx and pyramids, supporting idea of hidden spaces. Sealed doors found by robots in Great Pyramid shafts could lead to such chamber. Copper pins on first door, symbolic of divine power, might mark threshold to this archive, meant only for those ready to understand its contents. Egyptian authorities' refusal to explore these spaces fuels speculation that they know or fear what lies within. Atlantis theory also connects to broader pattern of lost civilizations. In Sumerian texts, Enuma Elish speaks of world before flood, shaped by gods with divine tools. Hindu Mahabharata describes ancient cities with technologies that sound like science fiction. These myths across cultures share common thread. Golden age of knowledge ended by catastrophe, leaving only fragments in stone or story. End of African humid period, around 4000 BCE, transformed Sahara into desert, forcing populations to Nile where Egypt would rise. If Atlantis existed, its survivors might have carried their knowledge to Giza, building monuments to preserve what their island could not. Sphinx's erosion, pyramids' codes, underground network, all could be their legacy. Message to future generations that their world once was. Yet silence surrounding these possibilities is deafening. Egyptian authorities, backed by institutions like UNESCO, tightly control Giza's excavations. Discoveries that challenge 4th Dynasty timeline are dismissed or suppressed. This pattern of concealment suggests fear not of artifacts, but of ideas. If Giza was built by lost civilization, it would mean pharaohs were not architects of their greatest wonders, but inheritors, claiming legacy they couldn't replicate. It would force us to rethink human progress, admitting that advanced societies rose and fell long before our records begin. Legend of Atlantis, whether literal or symbolic, embodies this fear. Reminder that our history might be cycle of forgetting, not straight line to glory. Imagine lost shores of Atlantis, its temples sinking beneath waves, its people scattering to build one final monument under Egypt's stars. Great Pyramid and Sphinx stand as their echo, silent yet enduring. Their secrets, buried in stone and sand. Legend of Atlantis is more than story. It's question, asking us to look beyond pharaohs, beyond our timelines, to civilization that left its mark, not to be remembered, but to ensure we never forget what we've lost. As waters closed over Atlantis, perhaps its greatest minds turned to stone, building monuments that would outlast oceans, speaking in language of mathematics that needs no translation. Their city may be lost, but their knowledge remains. Waiting in chambers we're not allowed to enter, in codes we're only beginning to decipher. Atlantis lives on, not in sunken ruins, but in precision of pyramids' angles, in silence of Sphinx's gaze, in mystery that refuses to be solved. Their story became our question, their end, our beginning. Great Pyramid of Giza is marvel of stone. Its 2.3 million blocks, testament to precision that defies ancient tools. But it's not just visible structure that captivates, it's invisible. Way sound moves within its chambers, as if builders understood principles of acoustics we're only beginning to grasp. Step into King's Chamber, granite heart of pyramid, and you'll feel it. Space where whispers linger, where certain tones seem to vibrate air itself. Chamber, built from massive granite blocks, hauled from Aswan 800 kilometers away, is box of perfect proportions. 10 meters long, 5 meters wide, 5.8 meters high. Walls fitted so tightly, no blade can slip between. Create acoustic environment unlike any other in Egypt. Speak softly, and your voice carries with unnatural clarity. Chant low note and stone seems to hum in response, as if tuned to frequency woven into its design. This isn't imagination, it's measurable. Researchers have studied King's Chamber and found that its dimensions align with harmonic ratios, creating resonance that amplifies specific frequencies. Tone at around 110 Hz produces standing wave, vibration that feels almost physical, as if chamber was built to capture and enhance sound. Granite, rich in quartz, is natural conductor of vibration. Its crystalline structure capable of resonating like tuning fork. When struck or exposed to certain sounds, stone vibrates, sustaining notes in ways that suggest intentional design. This isn't chaotic echo of cave or tomb. It's controlled acoustic space, engineered to manipulate sound with precision that rivals modern concert halls. Phenomenon extends beyond King's Chamber. Deep beneath Giza Plateau, in Osiris Shaft, near Khafre's Causeway, another acoustic mystery unfolds. This vertical tunnel, plunging over 30 meters into bedrock, ends in chamber with 6 side niches and stone box empty of burial traces. Here too, sound behaves strangely. Whispers carry across room with startling clarity, while louder sounds seem muffled, absorbed by stone. Acoustic tests reveal chamber resonates at low frequencies around 100 nidus 120 Hz, creating sensations some describe as trance-like, as if space was designed to alter perception. Smooth walls, carved with consistent tool marks, enhance this effect, suggesting deliberate understanding of how sound interacts with stone. This isn't tomb, it's chamber, built to sing, to hold vibrations that connect physical and intangible. What could this mean? In ancient Egypt, sound was sacred, tied to creation and divine order. God Thoth was said to have spoken world into being. Priests used chants, music, instruments to commune with gods, but acoustics of Great Pyramid and Osiris Shaft go beyond ritual. They suggest technology of sound, mastery of physics that could harness vibrations for purposes we can't fully comprehend. Some researchers propose King's Chamber was resonance chamber, designed to amplify specific frequencies for spiritual or practical effects. Low hum of 110 Hz is known to induce calmness or altered states of consciousness. Phenomenon studied in modern neuroscience. Could pyramids builders have used sound to influence mind, to connect with cosmic forces, even to manipulate energy? This idea finds echoes in other ancient cultures. In Malta, Hypogeum of Halsaflini, 5,000-year-old underground temple, has chambers tuned to resonate at 110-111 Hz, creating effects some believe were used for rituals or healing. In Peru, Chavín de Huántar's stone corridors amplify low-frequency sounds, guiding priests through darkened passages with acoustic cues. These sites, like Giza, suggest global tradition of acoustic engineering, where sound was not just art, but technology, used to shape experience or environment. Great Pyramid's granite, with its quartz content, could act as piezoelectric material, generating small electrical charges under vibration. While speculative, this aligns with theories inspired by Nikola Tesla, who believed ancient structures could harness Earth's natural energies through resonance. Could Pyramid be machine, not of gears but of frequencies, built to tap into forces we've forgotten how to use? Implications are profound. If Pyramid and its subterranean chambers were designed for resonance, they might serve purpose beyond symbolism. Some researchers argue Great Pyramid was power generator, using sound or vibration to produce energy. King's Chamber, with its granite and precise dimensions, could focus acoustic waves, perhaps to charge objects, influence materials, even communicate across distances. Air shafts aligned with stars might have served as conduits, not for air but for energy, connecting Pyramid to cosmic rhythms. While no direct evidence supports this, Chamber's acoustics and Pyramid's precision align to true north, encoding P and Phi, knowledge of physics that surpasses Egypt's documented capabilities. Osiris shaft, with similar acoustic properties, could be part of this system. Subterranean counterpart, designed to resonate in harmony with Pyramid above. This brings bolder question: who possessed such knowledge? Egyptians of 4th dynasty were skilled builders, but their texts show no understanding of advanced acoustics or piezoelectric effects. Their tools couldn't produce flawless granite surfaces of King's Chamber. Absence of hieroglyphs in Pyramid suggests purpose not tied to their religion. Could this technology belong to lost civilization? One that understood sound as force, not just ritual. Coptic scroll, burned before translation, spoke of beacons of stone built before language, hinting at people who left their mark in Giza. Sphinx's water erosion supports this, as does underground network with its precise chambers suggesting forgotten infrastructure. Resonance of Giza also connects to legend of Atlantis, described by Plato as civilization of advanced engineers. If Atlantis existed, its survivors might have brought their knowledge to Nile, building monuments to preserve their science through coming catastrophe. Acoustic properties of Pyramid and Osiris shaft could be remnants of this technology, designed to harness sound for purposes we can't fathom. Perhaps healing, communication, energy production. Pattern of concealment we've uncovered suggests modern authorities fear this truth. Egyptian government restricts access to Giza's sensitive sites. Could they be hiding evidence of ancient technology too powerful or too alien to reveal? This fear of revelation isn't unique to Egypt. In India, ancient city of Dwarka, submerged off coast, is said to house structures with advanced engineering. Yet excavations are limited. In Mesopotamia, cuneiform texts hint at divine weapons that manipulated sound or light. Dismissed as myth. Conspiracy of silence guards Giza's secrets with locked gates and official denials. If Pyramid's acoustics were part of technology from lost civilization, revealing them could challenge our view of human progress, suggesting we're not first to master such forces. Some even speculate extraterrestrial origin, pointing to Pyramid's precision as evidence of alien guidance. While fringe, this idea underscores mystery. Technology of Giza feels beyond human, beyond ancient, beyond us. As you drift towards sleep, imagine standing in King's Chamber, granite humming around you, air thick with vibrations that have waited thousands of years to be heard. Sound in this space is not just echo, it's language, speaking in frequencies that bypass words, reaching directly into consciousness. Whether this chamber was built for worship, healing, or something else entirely, its message is clear. Ancient builders understood forces were only beginning to rediscover. Their knowledge lives on in stone that sings, in chambers that resonate, in mysteries that refuse to be silenced. Listen carefully. In silence between heartbeats, you might hear what they were trying to tell us. Could Great Pyramid and Sphinx be work of extraterrestrial beings? Visitors from stars who left their mark in stone? Great Pyramid stands as monument to impossible. Internal chambers built with granite, hauled 800 kilometers. fitted so tightly no blade can slip between. Air shafts point to Orion's belt and pole star as they appeared in 2450 BCE, suggesting knowledge of stellar motion beyond Egypt's records. Pyramid encodes mathematical constants, p, phi, Earth's dimensions, in ways that imply grasp of geometry and astronomy not documented in 4th dynasty. Sphinx, with its water erosion from 7,000 years ago, hints at even older origin. These anomalies strain narrative of copper tools and human labor. Could they point to source beyond Earth? Civilization from cosmos that shaped Giza's wonders. This idea was popularized by Erich von Däniken in his 1968 book, Chariots of the Gods. Däniken argued ancient monuments like Great Pyramid could only be explained by extraterrestrial intervention. Precision of Giza's construction required technology far beyond what humans possessed. 4,500 years ago, moving 15-ton blocks, aligning structures to celestial bodies, encoding universal constants. These feats suggest tools or knowledge not found in Egyptian texts. Absence of hieroglyphs in pyramid, unlike every other royal tomb, adds to mystery. Why build such monument and leave no claim, no story, unless builders were not of this world? Their purpose not tied to human glory? Däniken proposed aliens visited Earth, sharing their technology with early humans, or building these structures as beacons, observatories, even landing sites. Evidence, while speculative, is compelling when viewed through this lens. Great Pyramid's alignment to true north, within fraction of degree, requires global perspective, knowledge of Earth's axis and magnetic field, concepts not recorded in ancient Egypt. Air shaft stellar alignments targeting Orion and Pole Star suggest fixation on cosmos, as if pyramid were bridge between Earth and heavens. Orion in Egyptian mythology was linked to Osiris, god of rebirth, but precision of these alignments implies scientific understanding, not just religious symbolism. Pyramids' mathematical codes point to universal language, one that might resonate with beings who navigate stars. Lack of inscriptions could mean builders spoke through geometry, language that transcends planets. Beyond Giza, other ancient sites fuel this hypothesis. In Peru, Nazca lines stretch across desert, massive geoglyphs, visible only from air. Their purpose unknown, were they signals to skyward visitors. In Bolivia, Pumapunku's stone blocks cut with precision that defies Inca tools seem to belong to technology we can't explain. Megaliths of Baalbek, Lebanon, weighing up to 800 tons, challenge human engineering even today. These sites, like Giza, share hallmark. They appear suddenly, with no clear technological predecessors, as if gifted by source beyond Earth. Sumerian Anunnaki, gods said to come from heavens, are described in ancient texts as teachers of civilization. Could they, or beings like them, have guided construction of Giza, leaving monuments as proof of their presence? Underground network beneath Giza adds another layer. Radar scans revealed chambers and tunnels, some with geometric precision, suggesting infrastructure older than pharaohs. Osiris shaft, with its empty stone box and eerie acoustics, resonates at frequencies that alter perception, hinting at purpose tied to sound or energy. Could these spaces be remnants of extraterrestrial technology, designed for communication, energy production, or even interstellar signaling? Sealed doors in pyramid shafts, found by robots, bear copper pins, metals sacred to Egyptian gods, associated with divine power. Were these markers for technology we can't comprehend, left by beings who knew their creations would outlast their visit? This brings most provocative question. Why the silence? Egyptian authorities have consistently blocked exploration of Giza's hidden spaces, radar anomalies beneath Sphinx, robot discoveries in pyramid, historical reports of underground chambers, all dismissed as nothing. This pattern of concealment suggests fear of what might be found. If Giza's monuments were built by extraterrestrials or with their guidance, revealing this could upend understanding of human history. It would mean we're not alone, that our greatest achievements might be borrowed from stars. Institutions like UNESCO and global governments might fear chaos of such revelation, not just for science, but for religion, culture, identity. Conspiracy deepens when we consider broader pattern. Ancient texts across cultures hint at sky beings. Hindu Vimanas, flying machines in Mahabharata, describe aerial battles with advanced technology. Book of Enoch speaks of watchers who descended from heavens, teaching humans forbidden knowledge. Doggone people of Mali, with detailed knowledge of Sirius star system, claim it came from amphibious beings from stars. These stories, dismissed as myth, share common thread: contact with advanced entities who shaped early civilizations. Giza's anomalies fit this narrative, suggesting connection to cosmic intelligence that left its mark and departed. But why leave such monuments? If extraterrestrials built or guided construction of Giza, what was their purpose? What do you think about this ancient mystery? Could these impossible feats of engineering really be evidence of extraterrestrial contact? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your theories about Giza's true builders. If you enjoyed exploring this enigma with me here on Epoch History for Sleep, please give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into history's most puzzling questions. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest investigations into the ancient world's greatest mysteries. Asterisk, asterisk. Until next time, keep questioning the official narrative and sweet dreams filled with cosmic possibilities.